This changes everything for the Milwaukee Brewers, as multiple updates from Pat Murphy and Matt Arnold have revealed that Jackson Chourio's injury is significantly worse than originally thought. We're going to be breaking it down, going over what this means for this Milwaukee Brewers team, as well as what they did tonight, which was absolutely special. We're going to be breaking it all down here in this video. Before we do jump into it, though, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We know that just over 98% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're liking all these videos regarding your Milwaukee Brewers, all the news, post games, and everything coming out, be sure to hit the sub button. I'm going to be bringing it to you daily as we head towards the postseason and into the offseason. But we need to jump straight into this. Going over the first, a quote from this Brewers team indicating that this injury from Jackson Chourio is much worse than originally thought. This one here is from Pat Murphy. He says, "It won't be anytime soon." He said before the Brewers series opener against Washington in the game tonight, he was diagnosed a little more severely than we initially thought. To what extent? I'm not exactly sure, nor are they. We're just going to have to rehab it. So this is obviously detrimental to what this Milwaukee Brewers team was hoping for after the MLB trade deadline. Of course, they went out, made a trade to kind of get not a one-for-one replacement, but someone who can fill in for Jackson Chourio for a little bit of time in Brandon Lockridge over the next couple weeks, months, whatever it may be. And sources are indicating that it may be a little more upwards of a month. So Brandon Lockridge right now, and we're going to jump into his game tonight as well as jumping into the game here in a little bit, going over all of this, is going to have a kind of a big set of shoes to fill as we head towards the season, because obviously Jackson Chourio has been absolutely fantastic here, and I kind of wanted to go over and take a look at what we're seeing right now on the outfield side of things. And of course, tonight we did see Brandon Lockridge in right, and left we saw Christian Yelich, and then we also saw Blake Perkins tonight in center, who had a very good night. But overall, Brandon Lockridge didn't have a bad game, and we're going to jump into that once again, as I mentioned later, a bit here later in the video. But we do have another quote here coming out, this time from Matt Arnold, and going over the kind of injury once again. He says, "We're going to be cautious there, so it's probably going to be a little bit longer than we initially anticipated, and, kind of not expecting anything excessive, but we just want to be super patient about the player of Chourio's caliber." And this is what he said earlier, too, and he didn't necessarily jump the gun by saying that, hey, he is injured, we're going to, take the time, but he did mention, whatever it is, they're going to take the time on him. So even if it may be now more upwards of a month rather than a week or two than like they thought, he may be out for maybe a month and a half, 2 months, depending on how the Brewers are, what situation they're in, how their record is looking come that point. But you could ultimately lead to Jackson Chourio being out until the postseason. Now, I don't want to assume anything. Obviously, we can hope he rehabs as quick, but obviously, as I mentioned, as Matt Arnold is saying, as well as Pat Murphy, they do not want to rush anything whatsoever for Jackson Chourio due to how good he's been this season. And I mean, just going and looking at his stats over the past few years, you can take a look and see he's been putting up some very good numbers. I say a few years, I mean this season and last season, very consistent at 276 with a pretty good OPS as well, a 785. And he's been putting up, the most home runs, I believe, or second most on the team. And he's been a guy that's really been our power bat, which we didn't add at the deadline. Matt Arnold made the right decision, though, in kind of working around that, keeping the team internally. And, that power bat would have been nice, but the way that this Brewers team performed tonight, I think, was the perfect example of why Matt Arnold didn't want to go out of his way, give up any prospects, any players, currently on the roster for a power bat. And we're going to jump into that here right now, because obviously, taking a look at this game, it was a very interesting one, because we had Brandon Lockridge leading things off, 2 hits and 6 at-bats. Pleasantly surprised by him. Had a stolen base as well, 2 strikeouts, a walk. Pretty disciplined up at the plate, and ultimately, he's going to be a guy that we're going to see a lot of over the next little while, and I'm very excited to kind of see how he does play out. Obviously, I don't think we're going to rely on him. We also have Sal Frelick, who can come into a game here and there, but Brandon Lockridge is going to be a guy that they're going to, heavily rely on over the next few weeks to a month with the injury update to Jackson Chourio. Now, going else throughout the lineup, we see a lot of at-bats. I think it's just kind of the good way of saying it. And William Contreras, obviously a great night. 5 hits for him and 7 at-bats. Christian Yelich, obviously 2 hits. Andrew Vaughn, there's something up with him, ladies and gentlemen. And he has become one of the craziest players over the last few games. Over the last, 17 games that he spent with the Milwaukee Brewers since being acquired. He has been an absolute force on this team. And I'm going to kind of give him a little shout-out later before we kind of go into that, though. Andrew Monasterio, Chourio as well, 4 hits in 6 games. Joey Ortiz, 3 hits and 6 at bats, not games. And Joey Ortiz, once again, playing, not great this season, but if you're seeing this consistency come out of him, we obviously cannot really complain about that. Now, as you see as well, 25 hits as a team, 16 runs, an absolute amazing game for this team here. Now, Easton McGee at the end of the game there might want to be DFA'd after this performance of going to get a hold when you're up by, 12, I can't remember the exact score when he came in, but it got a bit closer than we would have liked at that point. But, kind of going into it as well, I wanted to talk about Andrew Vaughn. As you look at his kind of Milwaukee tenure, he's currently sitting at a 1,200 OPS. And, I know, it's only 17 games, but in those 17 games, he's been exactly what the Brewers needed. 6 home runs going off that, 24 RBIs in that short amount of time. A 358, I believe it is, batting average. He's been exactly what the Brewers are looking for. And over this tenure of games, he's going to be, another guy they're going to have to rely on once again over Jackson Chourio now that he is out for at least a little while. And I don't want to go out here and assume that, this team is going to kind of take a fall off or anything, because I don't think it will, because games like this that we just saw tonight are games that this Milwaukee Brewers team are made for. Made for kind of just hammering out games, hammering out hits, getting runs in, and being able to do that without necessarily having, too many home runs in the game. And obviously tonight had quite a few. Obviously can't complain about that, but this team is built for games like these where you're trying to battle it out. Go out here and have the lineup up and down swinging that ball. And even the way they were swinging it when you're coming into this game, looking at 14 left on base, this Brewers team could have put up 39 runs. And I mean, that's a bit excessive, let's be honest here. But when you're looking at this team, absolutely the way you want to. And yes, it is the Washington Nationals. They're not a great team, but games like this make you play better baseball down the stretch and against better teams. And, you can't complain about a game like this, apart from, Easton McGee, when you're coming and taking a look at this. 7.59 ERA in 7 games played and a 1.59 whip. I do expect a move to be made tomorrow that we're going to see Easton McGee sent down. And let me know in the comments below what you thought about his appearance as well, because that was a little bit bad near the end of the game there. But, of course, this is a big win for this Milwaukee Brewers team, and we're coming to take a look down the stretch as well. It's going to be a heavy set of games, and as I mentioned, we got some very tough opponents coming in the Reds and the Cubs later on in this month. And now that Jackson Chourio may be scheduled to miss this after being on the IL, we need to see everybody be stepping up over these next set of games. And once we get Shelby Miller as well into this lineup, we'll be looking at a very good Brewers team coming down to the end of this month and into the postseason. So that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well, and let me know once again what you think about this game, how you think this game, now this is very important as well, how you think this game will impact the games that this team comes and plays later on in this month. Of course, we have, I believe it's the the Reds, then going into the Cubs, and then I believe the Blue Jays at the end of this month. So 3 pretty good teams that we're going to be up against, and I think this is going to be a heavy set of challenges for this Brewers team, who are quite injured at this point. But of course, we see Andrew Vaughn, we see some other names here in this lineup that are playing ball like this. We're going to be in a really good spot. So let me know what you think in the comments below. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.